Winning Blueprint presents.
5 minutes or less. Denver Broncos.
Welcome. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. This is 5 minutes or less with the Denver Broncos. Got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get it started. So the high point of the season for the Denver Broncos. To me, the high point of the season for the Broncos also was the turning point in the season for the Denver Broncos in the 2012 season. You're 2-3. You're on the road against the San Diego Chargers. The Peyton Manning comeback story isn't where you would like it to be at this point. You've been up and down to start this season. Again, you're 2-3. And you find yourself down 24-0 at the half against the San Diego Chargers. I mean, you look like you're about to be blown out of the stadium. And all of a sudden, the second half of that game produced a second half of the season for the Denver Broncos. A new life, a new season for the Broncos. Everything changed after that second half. The Broncos come out, they scored 35 unanswered points. They win the game 35-24 over the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers go down, the Broncos ascend. They win 10 more games thereafter straight, having the season culminate in an 11-game winning streak. The last of those 11 wins, clinching you the first seed overall in the AFC playoffs. That game, that second half against the San Diego Chargers is the high point for the Denver Broncos in the 2012 season. So you look at the low point of the season for the Denver Broncos. This one is as easy as it gets. 42 seconds remaining in the divisional round playoff game against the eventual Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. You're up 7. You've got the game right where you want it. It's 3rd and 3. Clock's ticking away. Broncos have 70 yards of field to defend. All they got to do is play solid defense and this game is over. Instead, they give up a 70-yard touchdown pass to Jacoby Jones. Ravens go on to win that game in overtime. And look, that play was the low point of the season because it not only stunned the Broncos, because they still had a chance to win this game, but it ended their season because after that play happened, they could not gather themselves. They couldn't wrap their brains around what just transpired. You went from staring the AFC Championship game in the face to now having to go to overtime and really pick up the pieces of what just happened at the end of regulation. And so that is definitely the low point of the season for the Denver Broncos. You look at free agency activity for the Denver Broncos. It's simple. Test the waters. Because the Denver Broncos are a very solid football team. And you have several needs on this team, mainly in your secondary. First things first, you got to figure out what you're going to do with Ryan Clady. Well, the Broncos already figured out what they want to do with Ryan Clady. They slapped the franchise tag on him. That doesn't mean that they won't work out a long-term deal with him, but that means they have him in the fold now. So now you know what you have to work with. You need to re-sign some guys, and you need to go out and find some help in the secondary. Champ Bailey's getting up there in age. You never really got what you were looking for out of Tracy Porter. So you just need to look for some more help out in free agency. Test the waters. You have money. So go out there and see what you can do to help you take that next step and potentially get back to the AFC divisional round, get to the championship game, and possibly to the Super Bowl. Finally, the state of the fan base in Denver. Extreme optimism. You got Peyton Manning.
Optimism.
John Elway has done a heck of a job as your general manager. There's nothing but pure optimism for this Denver Broncos franchise. If you're a fan of the Broncos, you have to feel like you have a shot because anytime Peyton Manning is your quarterback, you have a legitimate shot at winning a Super Bowl. The Broncos had a legitimate shot in 2012. What's to stop you from thinking that they have a legitimate shot in the 2013 season as well. It's extreme optimism. The Denver Broncos are one of the better teams in the AFC. And so if you're a Denver Broncos fan, you have every reason to believe that you'll be back in the AFC playoffs again next season with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. You hear that sound in the background? That means it's been 5 minutes or less with the Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos. 5 minutes or less.